everybody, to our latest MetriSight episode. I am Robin Garris, CEO and Principal Analyst of Metrigy, and today I am just delighted to be joined by Sam Wilson, who is CEO of 8x8. So first of all, welcome, Sam.
Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you for having me. Love being on the show.
Awesome. Well, let me start with a little bit of background on Sam and the company. 8x8 obviously is a very well-known cloud-based communications provider. Its XCaaS service is kind of what it's very well known for. It provides platform level integration of UC and contact center, something that everyone's wanting to do and seeing benefits of doing. Our research is showing a lot of benefits there as well. So Sam was officially appointed CEO on May 26th of this year, but had been serving in an interim capacity since November of last year. And he has held a variety of positions at 8x8. Most recently CFO and Chief Customer Officer, and he has extensive experience in both the financial and technology sectors. I've known Sam for a long time, and he's just a great guy. So I'm really excited to talk to you today and just share with the audience some of your wisdom and insights.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
So let's start. You're obviously no stranger to the C-suite, particularly at 8x8. Like I said, you've been CFO, CCO, now CEO, and I will also mention that you served as captain as a captain in the U.S. Army. Thank you for that. And I just thought it'd be interesting to understand what what did you take from your military life to prepare you for this position, and what about all your other roles that you've had in the past 6 years? You've had entrepreneurial roles, you've had leadership roles, you've done all sorts of things. Kind of summarize for us. What have you taken from all that to prepare you for this position?
First, I have to give complete credit. Great question, by the way. But I have to give complete credit to the U.S. military. The U.S. military made me who I am. It taught me discipline, taught me leadership skills, and those kinds of things. Now, how it relates to being a CEO or a C-level officer, first and foremost, the U.S., being an officer in the military taught me leadership. And business is a team sport. It's, we build software by people, for people, to accomplish people things. I mean, nothing screams people more than the contact center. And so whenever people are involved, leadership is instrumental. There's a few sub things. I try to lead by example, one of the key tenets of being an officer in the military. And I try to believe in sort of radical transparency, I think is the business term for it. But in the military, it was everybody had to know the plan. And so inside of 8x8, one of the things we really work very hard on is making sure that everyone understands what our strategy is, what our direction is, etc. Now, Vic Verma was nice enough to hire me into 8x8 for Mobile Iron, and I sort of had a number of jobs here. What that gave me was a lot of context about the industry and the various things that people go through. I've run sales organizations, I've run sales engineering, so I understand the go-to-market side. I've done deployments, professional services, customer support, and those things. I understand the installed base customer side. And then I was chief financial officer, which really was all about the money and the business performance and those kinds of things. And so I'm pretty well-rounded in terms of all aspects of the business. I'm not an expert in any of them per se. Probably finance the most, since that's my original background. But I really just think I know, and my team helps me know all the bits and pieces about what's going on. And then we try to bring all that to bear. Look, the thing that almost all these jobs, the military, CC, et cetera, taught me, customer's number one. That doesn't mean the customer's always right, by the way, but the customer's number one. They pay the bills, they pay our salary, they pay for R&D, they pay for everything. And so we're very focused on our tagline, customer obsession. That's us. We want to be obsessed by the success of our customers running our software, doing their jobs. Not whether, I absolutely believe if we build great software, they'll be successful, and then they in turn will make us successful.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, especially for you being in a company that that sells technology that helps companies serve their own customers, right? So I would say under your tenure as CFO now, 8x8 shifted its sales focus from UC first toward contact center first. And I will tell you that our research totally supports that. Right now, we find that 43% of companies are buying UC and contact center products together. And 67% of those say that contact center is carrying more weight in the vendor selection. And, so you think at the same time, you've got, in our research, 65% of companies had planned to increase, CX spending this year. So obviously this move made sense long before that we even had the research to show that it made sense, right? So given that, How has that shift to CX first or contact center first been working for 8x8 in terms of sales figures? Are you shifting? Are you also shifting on how you spend your R&D dollars as well? And I got a couple questions into this, but like, and do you see UC as a commodity?
All right, so let me answer a bunch of things there, and then
Okay.
we'll sort of just go back and forth a little bit. So first up, one of the things that we caught starting in 2020, 2021, and I have no idea if the pandemic was part of it, was
Yeah.
that corporations, after 20 years of cutting spending around the contact center, started increasing spending around the
Yeah.
contact center. And what I liken it to is, for 20 years, it was all about acquiring new logos. It was about CRM systems and marketing operations systems, Eloquia, HubSpot,
Mm-hmm.
Freshworks, Salesforce, Dynamics. These were all the buzzwords that people were spending money on. And meanwhile, contact centers were being moved to developing countries and costs were being stripped out of them. And suddenly around 2020, 2021, people realized that retaining customers is as important as winning new customers.
Mm-hmm.
And especially as the subscription business model has become
Yeah.
more prevalent, but really just reorder rates. Even if you look at a restaurant, the best thing you can focus on is returning customers. And so we noticed this uptick in spending, and that's when we started to re-engineer the company. At the same time, Microsoft Teams and Zoom really came into the UC market and started messing about. I mean, it's not really that we compete with Microsoft; they're a partner of ours, but they came into the market, and so it became less about voice, video, and chat for employee collaboration, and
Yeah.
more about really in that customer retention piece. The venture capital community has stepped up spending, etc. Okay,
Oh
so
yeah.
you asked me a bunch of questions there about my sales. So we still sell XCaaS, and each deal is generally 50-50,
Okay.
UC versus CC. So it's hard, like you're not going to see this big step up in contact center relative to UC because we're still selling the package. But the difference is, to what your research shows is what our research shows, is that the bundle is being led by contact center because there's more white space. So to answer your last
Mm-hmm.
question, do I think UC is commoditizing? No,
Okay.
but it's gotten more feature complete. And so look, we have 59 countries. So there's still geographic. We have more, we're blurring the lines between UC and CC with some products coming out later this year, with our conversational IQ product that brings speech analytics to the
Yeah.
parts of the business that are touching customers, but not using CC. So I think it matters still. I think UC is not going away. It's just changing and it's more feature complete. There's just much more white space on the contact center side. And to answer your question, yes, we have radically over the last year shifted R&D spending, year and a half, with Fuse acquisition into the contact center. 75
Okay.
to 80% of our investments go into the contact center. And that's where, based on your research, based on our sense, that's really what's going to drive the buying decision on go forward years. And so we've really tried to make a differentiated strategy around the contact
Yeah.
center, really focused on our ideal customer, which is kind of that mid-market enterprise,
Okay.
and really put our dollars behind that. The other thing is, I've actually just raw increased R&D spending. So if you look at the company 4 years ago, we spent 9 and change on R&D, and today we spend 15% of revenue. So it's almost 4x increase in our
Yeah.
raw number of dollars. And you see it in the fact that we're launching ever more products now than we ever have, right? So that's that white space opportunity. And, look, I think your research is spot on. I think your research is absolutely spot on.
Well, another research project, you'll probably really think this one's spot on. This was our MetriRank study where we looked at, it ranks companies in the CX space, and you have to have a certain market share even to get into the ranking to begin with. And there's a lot of companies in this space, as you can imagine, as you know. So just getting on the list is really an accomplishment. 8x8 is in the top 5. Yet I would say there's probably a lot of companies out there that are not aware of the extent of your contact center offerings. So I want to talk a little bit about what your plan is to get the word out more about 8x8 in the contact center in the coming year.
It's a great question. And by the way, I think you're spot on. Look, I think the it's amazing. I mean, look, in your survey, the part I'm actually most proud of is not that we ranked 5th. I think that's great, and I love that we ranked in front of Dialpad and some of the other players, Avaya and TalkDesk, etc.
Yeah.
It was actually that we maxed out the score on customer sentiment. That was actually the thing I
Yeah.
was so proud of, and I sent to the entire team and just yelled at the top of my lungs, that's what matters. Make our customers happy. Yes. Your point, though, about our market awareness, absolutely an issue. We historically have been a company that sort of our market awareness was around UC and voice,
Mhm.
video, and chat for employee
Yeah.
collaboration. And so we have stepped up our innovation days. We're doing a lot more field marketing led by what is our roadmap. We're trying to be more open as a company. I think somewhere along the way, we got a little closed-minded in terms of sharing with our customers the journey that we're going on as a company. So we are
Okay.
trying to do more. Hey, this is
Yeah.
our roadmap. What do you think? We've launched customer 8x8 customer labs. So as our innovation kicks in, we're having more and more beta sites. We're trying to involve the customers more and more. And we are going to do more around like big initiatives I have over the next, let's say, 12 to 18 to 24 months. I want to jumpstart our user communities. So I'd like to see
Okay.
user communities throughout the United States and UK.
Mhm.
And I'd really like to hold a ecosystem, product, partner, channel partner, customer conference next year. That's something historically we haven't done, but I really want to
Yeah.
hold it around that contact center space because I think we have a unique advantage. Since we have
Yeah.
UC and we have CC, right? And about 60% of your customer interactions are in the contact center and 40% are outside the contact center.
Mhm.
We have the best ability to see what's happening. And if we can bring that technology to bear, I think we can really improve customer experience as a whole. And so, but we're not going to do it alone. As I said earlier, business is a team sport. There's a whole bunch of our ecosystem partners that are absolutely going to be instrumental in helping us bring this vision to bear.
Yeah, I mean, I think a conference is a great idea because you see a lot of everyone that I go to is certainly very well attended in the CX space, that's for sure. And I like also what you say about customer sentiment and that being tough because it aligns very well with what you said at the start of our discussion today about how important that is
It's
to
by
you, you
far the
know?
thing I'm
So,
most proud of, Robin. I was just
yeah,
so super proud for the team.
fantastic. So, I want to shift a little bit to AI. We can't talk about CX without talking about AI. It comprises a broad and in-demand set of technologies for sure. So, where is 8x8's focus going to be for AI? Given you can't offer everything, you can't do everything. You're gonna have to partner in some cases, and then other things you might offer natively over the platform. But do you have a sense at this point as to where you know what type of AI technologies you're going to partner and where you're going to go, native on it.
Absolutely. So we have a three-tiered approach. So in our contact center space, and even over on the UC side, but our main focus for our R&D dollars is workflow.
Hmm?
So having a omni-channel, intelligent routing, UI, UX, and data and analytics. Those four pillars, and those are really revolving around getting a case in, getting it to the right location, making sure the agent is fully enabled and the supervisor is fully enabled to solve that case, and having the analytics around what was the case, how did it get solved, mean time to
Yeah.
resolution, right? Okay. So step one on the AI journey is things that are common. Actually, I'm gonna do it in reverse. Step three is our ecosystem. So
Hmm?
we launched it in July, technology partner ecosystem at 8x8. And we've got about 20 some, and I think we've got a waiting list of another 20 some that are going to be technology partners for MLAI. And I know this is going to be radical, but I want to be the platform of choice for next generation machine learning, artificial intelligence
Hmm?
startups. I mentioned earlier,
Interesting.
the venture
Okay.
capital community has picked this up, right? So we
Yeah.
estimate there's well in excess now of 1,000 startups and $100 billion of venture capital allocated around the contact center. And all of those need a contact center to ride on top of. And so I really want to be the choice. So we're building APIs, webhooks, and user interfaces that can be completely natively integrated. One of our research points shows that contact center buyers do not want to buy these technologies and have them as an island out onto the side. So imagine a really simple use case, a chatbot.
Hmm?
The chatbot, even if it solves 80% of the cases, still can't solve 100%, which
Right.
means a
Agreed.
live agent has to be involved. And so it has to be integrated into the workflows of the contact center. And that integration has to feel native. And that is absolutely our hope,
Okay.
is that we can provide a framework that allows those new technologies to be seamlessly integrated. So what are we looking for with our partners? Agent assist, chatbots, voice bots, health scoring, IT services. I'm doing this off the top of my head, and all the things around those pieces. Okay. And then The middle tier is AI technologies that can be used by our ecosystem. So they're a shared service that we can supply to our ecosystem. So we first talked to OpenAI the week they came out of stealth mode.
Okay.
And we've already since deployed their Whisper technology. Okay, and I have to be subtle here, internal to us. So we took OpenAI's Whisper technology for transcription, brought it in-house, so it's on our side of the firewall. I think one of the big issues, besides the island issue, is security, privacy, GDPR, et cetera, around AI and all these cloud-based products. And so everything we do with transcription is inside of our tenant. It's inside of our firewall. So it's completely safe and secure. We certify with compliance and certifications, et cetera. And so we're getting those next generation technologies, but we're getting it while it still maintains privacy. We're getting it while it's still secure, and we're making it feel native, and it's deeply integrated into the workflow of the contact center. So that's my vision. My vision is not to compete with the venture capital and all that innovation. And let's be clear. I'm a believer that R&D dollars equals innovation. The more you spend, the more you innovate. So if the Sand Hill Road crew is spending $100 billion, and you look at us and Talkdesk and Five9 and Genesys and InContact, whatever, combined, we're probably spending less than $1 billion. So we're going to get outspent 100 to 1 or more on these next generation technologies. I think we should embrace them. I don't think we should go a native strategy. And I think that within 5 years, the contact center will look much like Marketo does today, or marketing operations does today, which is a core platform that handles all the workflow, and then tons of plugins that are customized for each individual use case.
I think that makes perfect.
I think you guys at Metigy are going to have a full-time job for the next 5 to 10 years, helping customers figure out all this. Yeah. Because if you're in the hospitality industry, the healthcare industry, travel, whatever the case may be, the configuration of the technology is going to be different. And that's what we want to provide to our customers. We want to provide the ability to take off-the-shelf technologies, stitch it together seamlessly, have it just work, and provide a solution that meets their desired level of CX.
Yeah, and I like your comment about just the level of R&D, because I think that makes a lot of sense. Your financial background coming through, but I mean, it definitely makes sense to build that platform on which you can leverage that innovation.
And look, I just look at it if you look at, for example, we have Cresta or Awaken or Balto. These next generation, they do agent assist way better than I could ever do. I mean, I'd love to claim that we don't. Like, all we're working on is building the right gateways, frameworks, APIs, and webhooks and UI, UX to make agent assist work flawlessly. But they are better at it than us. And I love them. I don't want to compete with them. I want to embrace them.
Excellent. So what would you say then is AI's impact on 8x8's revenue? So let me come at it this way. Like, we're seeing right now, those who do not use AI will hire about 2.3 times the number of agents compared to those who are using AI in 2023. So, we're seeing already, pretty big impact on AI. I don't see layoffs yet. I'm just not seeing that. But looking at future hiring, I think AI is making those existing agents a lot more effective and efficient. But when you look at it from your standpoint, that affects the contact center license revenue. Because if without AI, I was going to hire another 1,000 agents next year. Now I'm only hiring 300. That's an issue. It's an issue for you because you don't get as much revenue. So from contact center licenses, that is. So where do you make up that revenue if customers aren't buying as many pure contact center licenses? Is it just adding on to the existing ones? Is it adding on those new AI functions that will, make up for it or even generate more revenue? How do you see that? Because I think we're fundamentally shifting what happens in the contact center right now.
I totally agree, by the way. And so right now, the thing we're seeing in our early adopters of these technologies, about a 30% reduction. So I was trying to do the math in my head real quick, 2.3, 30%.
Yeah.
But I think you're seeing a little bit bigger number. It's fine. So look, by the way, I agree with you. I think on the pure seat count, if the technology works the way it should, you should get higher productivity. I mean, chatbots should deflect cases. That's the whole point. Right. But now I'm going to give you a little bit of a nuanced answer, a little bit of a long-winded answer, so I apologize up front. So first off, the labor market for contact centers is $220 billion. That's McKinsey's number.
Okay.
right? So, what technology has done better than anything else in the history of the human race has been replace human labor with machines.
Mhm.
By far the number one thing. And so we don't fight this technology trend, we embrace it. Now, we're going to make up for it by selling you intelligent customer assistant digital, intelligent customer assistant voice, workforce
Okay.
management, PCI compliance, additional services, CPaaS, etc. But
Yeah.
you're going to number two is if done correctly, attrition should come down. Like one of the things that's most amazing to me is that in these contact centers that deploy MLAI, we're seeing a big reduction in attrition. And the average attrition in
Oh yeah.
the turnover is like
Yeah.
40% a year. I mean, contact center people have to have one eye constantly on hiring, training, hiring, training, hiring,
Yeah.
training. I mean, can you imagine losing almost half your workforce every year? Okay, if we get all the rote job out, if we get all the, hey, I need to reschedule my appointment, if we get all that moved to bots, two things are going to happen. Number one is attrition is going to drop. And I think that's a boom for contact centers. And number
Yeah, for
two is
sure.
contact centers will invest in their agents to make them tier two agents and tier three agents. And you know why I know this for sure? And that's my last point. We did it 8x8. We deployed these technologies. We have them. We have a chatbot. We have voice stuff we're doing. We have health scoring, all these things.
Mhm.
We have less tier one agents than we did 3 years ago. We have more tier two agents. We have lower attrition because the tier two agent, it's a real job. You can make real money. It could be a
Yep.
career. And
Yep.
number three, we have the highest retention rates we've ever had as a company. So, like, it works. But I'm not
Right.
spending less in my contact center. I'm spending differently in my contact center.
Okay. Okay. So when you think about the market itself, obviously very competitive. You've got startups entering regularly. You've got, your your long-standing contact center providers. You've got just all different innovative new startups, as you already talked about. How do you see yourself differentiating?
So we break it into three buckets. Number one is the on-prem crew, the Avayas of the world and the Cisco's of the world, those kinds of things, right? None of them have really invested in cloud. None of them are really set up for the MLAI revolution that's coming because they're not cloud-based technologies. They don't have data stores and data warehouses and training data sets and all those kinds of things. So I
Okay.
think, if you're on one of those today, your trick is when to get off, not if, but when.
Hmm.
All right,
Okay.
number two is I want to say the new emergence. There's a whole crew of people who've made announcements. Hey, we're in the contact center space. Great. How much have you spent? Well, we spent like $5. There might be a video company that starts with Z and ends with M that really hasn't done much in the space yet so far, but talks a big game. Look, all of us, and bucket number three, In Contact, Talkdesk, Five Nines, us, Genesis, we've spent like $500 million to $1 billion and 10 years building this software. This is not simple software you throw together with 10 scrum
Oh,
teams in a
right.
year, right?
Right.
And so I think there's a second bucket of new entrants. Now, they're making the market very noisy with all their overpromise and underdeliver, but I think the marketplace will realize that. And then number three is the true competitors. So who do I consider my competitors? Talkdesk, In Contact, Five Nines, Genesis. These are great companies. I respect them all. Um, and the core way we're going to compete is with our ecosystem strategy. We're going to be
Okay.
an open platform that allows anyone to come in. All the previous competitors I mentioned sell in-house technologies that compete with the best in breed ecosystem products out there, and they comp their sales rep for selling native. They comp it. So I don't believe those companies are necessarily bringing the optimal solution to market. I think the optimal solution to market will be a series of next generation companies running on top of workflow that's just rock solid, and that's really how we're going to differentiate. I think once we've got them already, but once we get more and more reference customers that are deploying next generation technology on top of our contact center, more and more the market's going to come our direction.
Okay. Well, let's wrap up with one more question. And I always love to ask this question because the answers are always so interesting. So, if you look at fast forward to say early June 2024, you've been in this role for a year. Where does 8x8 need to be for you to consider your first year as a success? And if you can be as specific as possible, even with metrics, if you have them, like where you need to be.
So historically, we've been known as an XCaaS company. So 41% of our revenue is XCaaS, which is
Okay.
UC plus CC. I would love to see a double-digit plus number where we're XCaaS plus 1, plus 2, plus 3. So look, we now, 2 years ago, this was a company that sold 2 products, UC and CC combined, called XCaaS. Today we
Okay.
sell 7. UC, CC, CPaaS,
Okay.
workforce management optimization, PCI compliance, Intelligent Customer Assistant Digital, the chatbot, Intelligent
Mhm.
Customer Assistant Voice, the voice bot, and additional add-on services. So we have 8 things we can sell to customers. What we need to do as a company is show the marketplace the true power, the total cost of ownership and success of having a multi-product company. All big software companies sell a portfolio of products. We're now at the stage where we need to become a portfolio company. Most of our competitors are not portfolio companies. Some kind of are, some aren't. But that's really my number one success right now, is to show that a strategy of an open platform around the contact center mixed with our next generation technologies combined solves customer problems. In the end, if we solve customer problems, everything else takes care of itself, Robin. I truly believe that.
I do too. All right, so I'm going to invite you back at your year mark, and we'll see where you are on that goal. Like,
You're on.
we'll
And
ask
trust me,
you.
my sales team knows it. I bring it up to them every time. And look, I just want to say the research you guys are doing is absolutely pivotal. I mean, we read it religiously inside of 8x8. We believe in it. We pass it around. I mean, I've got pieces of research on my desk from your company with 12 post-it notes stuck to it, 15 highlights, and a bunch of red circles around it. So look, just keep doing the great work you guys are doing. I think it's absolutely amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Sam. I really appreciate that. And it's been a great discussion as always. I knew it would be. So I thank you so much for joining us today and just giving us your outlook on 8x8 and just CX overall. It's a fascinating time to be in this industry, and I really look forward to talking to you at your year mark and just finding out how you think you guys are doing and what the next year is going to hold for you.
If I have a chance to catch up with you, I would gladly do it anytime. I'd love your insights.
All right. Thanks, Sam. You have a great day, and thank you all for listening today.
Thank you.